I'd like to talk about structured Azure sales engagement and what it means. You are an MSP, and there is a program that has put you in that position, and this is a program which you can take advantage of Microsoft's relationship. So the problem is we live in a new world, the world of Azure consumed revenue, a world in which we need to continuously increase the revenue that comes from customers that are using Azure. So we're really talking about having enough in the funnel to drive ever-increasing consumption, because that's what ACR is about. It's about an ever-increasing level of consumption, not a steady state level of consumption. We know that there is MS funding available for interesting opportunities through CSIF, and when you combine, your skills as a partner with Microsoft's combined skills, usually early in the early stages of a sales cycle, and CSIF, then we can actually drive that funnel. We can drive the opportunities that exist in that funnel and drive them through to ever increasing Azure consumption. Okay, one of the things we need to work on a lot more these days is partner exposure through things like videos, articles, case studies, those kinds of things. There's multiple Microsoft channels. There's various newsletters that go out, the health newsletter, the enterprise newsletter, the public sector newsletter. There are Microsoft.com case studies, Microsoft.com/UK/case studies, and so on. So we need to leverage that a bit more. And the process is very simple. It's show, follow up, engage. So there's three pictures here. The first column is show, the second column is partner follow-up, and the third is the engagement. So the first one is about joint MTC engagement. So the Microsoft Technology Center is a place where partners and us can work together. So this is a little look at the MTC. The MTC is a place that has, let's get this right, it's a 14-seat room. There's enough places there for 10 customers, so we could have 10 individuals there. 2 of your guys, 2 Microsoft people, and an ante room. In the ante room, what you can see here is a place where coffee and registration is taking place at the start of the day, and lunch and coffee breaks. So if we've got 2 of your guys, usually a commercial and a technical person, in the room during the hands-on labs and those kinds of things, then it gives you a chance to converse with customers about projects and all those kinds of things in this ante room, in the coffee breaks, in the lunch breaks, and so on. So we have these hands-on workshops. There's no reason why we couldn't do a custom hands-on workshop for you. That would be a piece of joint development work where you would work with us to produce the content that would be delivered. And you can see in these pictures, these are technologists. Most of these guys are senior architects, CTOs, those kind of people that are actually using the opportunity to get some hands-on experience with some experienced people in the room to guide them through the whole process. We have found that selling to the technologists rather than the business has worked rather successfully with Azure, much more so than it does with most other products. Okay, so we said that first process, this one over here, that's the joint MTC engagement. You've seen what that would look like. That can run in the MTCs that we have in TVP, Edinburgh, Paddington, and we could basically just do it in a meeting room somewhere. There is value to be had for a partner inviting customers to Microsoft in order to present their capability and their capacity as a partner for Microsoft software and services. So a big chunk of the value of this is the fact that you are delivering something to customers at Microsoft, talking about Microsoft, and clearly that shows the endorsement that Microsoft has in your skills and your capacity and your capability to deliver solutions to those customers. So 24 to 48 hours after that, then you will get to this section here, the partner follow-up, and you would follow up. What you would do is you would follow up, you'd phone them up, find out which the hot ones were, and you'd use the Partner Connect tool, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, and then we'd engage. Now the engagement would have CSIF available for consumption-ready opportunities. We would normally make this, make that funding, which has to have 12 times the return on investment. That's one of the requirements there. We would normally say to the customer that you really need to do a case study for us in order to get this funding, because we will fund you. What are you going to give us in return? You give us a case study. Okay, so this is the process. The partner agrees to participate and they decide on an Azure subject. Currently, we've got infrastructure as a service, we've got DevOps, and we've got IoT. I think there's also a security one. I'm not absolutely sure of that. But that doesn't mean to say that if you were, let's just say you were security experts and you wanted to do something on security, you could, with us, develop some content, and we could provision that and run that in the MTC. Okay, so you choose a subject. Then you invite your prospects to the event. Now, these are your prospects, they're not our prospects. You might have really good relationships with the SSPs, the solution sales professionals in Microsoft, and you jointly work on their lists. If you haven't, I suggest that you get in touch with them, because they actually have lists of accounts and they need partners to work on those accounts, because they aren't able to get around to them all themselves. Each of the SSPs has got 60 plus accounts. So you would invite prospects to an event, and you would go through that process. You'd use your own demand generation, you'd use your own marketing, you'd use your own contact system, you'd use your own phoning them up, all of that kind of stuff. It would be yours, your piece. Now we would host the registration page. That's something that the MTC does. So part of the logistics is done by us, but the identification of those customers, whether they come from an SSP or whether they come from your own list, is done by you. Next, when we get to the MTC, the partner will talk about the capability, capacity, and a customer case study if you have one that's been done in the past. Customer name doesn't have to be mentioned, so it might even be an anonymous customer case study if you've got one of those. So you will talk about your capability, your capacity, and give customers the warm fuzzy feeling about working with you, and Microsoft will also do a joint briefing with you. We'll either ask them to use their own Azure subscriptions. It's a good way to get them started. If they don't have Azure subscriptions because they're something like they've never used Azure before, then we can give them $100 Azure passes, which is easily enough to get through a 1 day worth of labs. Okay, all of that happens in the MTC, and you've seen what the MTC looks like, what the kind of look and feel of it is, and why you'd want to do this in the first place, a joint Microsoft engagement at Microsoft to customers selling Microsoft software. It makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, then you follow up 24 to 48 hours later. You use the Partner Connect tool, and there's a tag that you can use. We'll give you the tag that you put on the opportunity, and that allows people like Mark Bedford, our director, to monitor and see the progress of these opportunities. And that obviously puts you in a certain light in his eyes as well when you do that. Interesting opportunities become eligible for CSIF. CSIF requires a 12 times return on investment. And the first engagement would be ideal. This is an ideal situation would be that you would provision something which on the very first day of the engagement would provide some value. Like, for example, we've quite often put things like domain controllers or virtual networks and virtual machines with WAN connections into Azure. And we can quite often do that in the first day. Sometimes it might take 2 or 3 days to do that. Now, of course, if this is an application play, if you're doing this for applications like app service or containers or something like that, then maybe this wouldn't be possible. But in some cases it is possible, and we should aim to do it if we can. Okay, next thing is the case study, the video, the article. Good idea is to actually do a number of case studies, one at the start, one in the middle, and one at the end, because quite often what happens is people do the case study when the solution has been finally delivered, and part of the story gets lost. So actually there could actually be 3 case studies out of every customer here. The case study goes to Microsoft.com, goes to all of our web properties. We popularize it through our different channels like the newsletters and so on. And then the capability is now well known by lots of people in the infrastructure there, and you can use that to market to new customers, and you go around this circle again and again and again and again. Hence it's called Structured Azure Sales Engagement, because there's a structure to the way that the sales engagement works. Okay, so these are the SSPs have top 20 opportunities that they're working on. Some of those might already have partners engaged with them, but some of them won't have. So it would be good to engage with your SSP to work on that. They have the red list. They're measured on the red list. I'm also measured on the red list, which is people who haven't done anything with Azure. The amber list are customers who are spending less than $5,000 a month on Azure. And then there are others. So those first 3, the top 20, the red list and the amber list, those are the ones that we really need to get some work, get some motion on. We have Azure Resource Manager infrastructure, DevOps, IoT, and we could do bespoke other workshops. These workshops tend to be lecture in the morning and hands-on lab in the afternoon. We have found that even CTOs really love to come to Microsoft and spend a day getting their hands on with technology. It's usually something they haven't done for a few years and they really enjoy it. Definitely the solution architects, enterprise architects like to do that, and in an absolute case, the actual people, the DevOps people love to do that. Okay, so let's just review. Remember, it's a three-step process: show, follow up, engage. The show is a joint MTC engagement between Microsoft and the partner, run in an MTC at Microsoft, presenting Microsoft software jointly with the MSP and Microsoft to the customers. 24 to 48 hours later, you do the partner follow-up. That is, call the customers up, find out which are the hot ones, which ones we're going to do something with, and those hot ones then get over to, if they've got consumption-ready solution, then we can find some CSIF for them. And remember what I said, there's an expectation of a 12 times return on investment for that. Okay, next steps. What do you do next if you want to get involved in this structured Azure sales engagement process? Socialize the idea within your organization. Make sure lots of people know about it so that when you talk to them about it, it's not the first time. Decide on a few things. One is when you would like to run one of these. I'd suggest an absolute minimum of 6 weeks away. Usually it'll take you a couple of weeks to get prepared to start inviting customers, and then 6 weeks to actually do it. It gives you the opportunity to call them a couple of times in that 6-week period. A topic. So if it's going to be a bespoke topic, so if you're going to choose something like DevOps or IoT or one of the workshops that we've already got, then you don't need to worry about things. But if it's going to be bespoke, then you will need to allow time for developing your own content. We'll help you with that, but you'll need to allow time for that to occur. So if it's going to take 2 weeks to develop the content, then you obviously can't start inviting people until those 2 weeks have gone by, because you want to have a 6-week window. Then who from a commercial point of view from your organization should be involved in it, and who from a technology point of view should be involved in it. Remember, there's a 14-seat room, 10 customers, 2 Microsoft people, and 2 of you. So if you've got a techie and a commercial person, the commercial person can pick up on all the conversations that take place in the room with the set of customers, and in the ante room in coffee time and lunch time and so on, can continue those conversations. And the technologist there is obviously is primarily there to not only deliver the content, but also to show, to give the customer a little bit of a view of what your kind of technology specialization is like. Okay, then we need to have a call, and the call will be with the MTC staff, and they'll talk about what it is that they provide, things like registration pages and those kinds of things. With me, because I'm the owner of this program, with the Microsoft folks who will be there, so that'll probably be me and maybe a commercial person or another technical person. You and your people, so that'll be whoever's sponsoring this from your organization, plus your commercial person, plus your technologist. Some of those might be the same people. And then you need to get some invitations out. We can give you invitation type material, or you might just use your own. It's up to you. You choose which you prefer on that. So get in touch with me. I'm steve.plank@microsoft.com in order to progress this and move further forward with it. Thanks for your time. Talk to you later. Bye.